Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Monday, February the 26th. The year is 2024. Let's talk trading. Weekly, open, and gap. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. And as we enter the last trading week of the month, let this be a reminder to never lose more on any one single trade than you are willing to lose. So let's take a look at the weekly chart here. The dashboard shows that we've got some New Zealand pairs that have not filled the gap. And we also seem to have filled the gap everywhere else. Now, there wasn't a big gap on the yen, which is right at 150.72. So if that 150 cracks, or maybe even if the 150.50 cracks, I'm going to be looking to go short. I just think the yen, it's a little high. Back to the pound, we can see we're 12 pips over the open, 17 off the high, 26 off the low. That's about what, 43 pips of range. So I do believe price wants to move one way or the other, but I think it wants to expand that range. If we zoom out to the monthly, we can see we're just 3 pips above the monthly open, 89 off the high and 165 off the low. And it looks like we're in that lower wick zone here of the monthly. And back to the weekly. Let's see. As I mentioned, we're in the upper wick zone of the weekly. And looking at opening ranges, we are creating the opening range for the week. We are in the opening range of the month and inside the opening range of the year. In fact, we're pretty much smack dab in the middle of those ranges. And for the year, we are 37 pips now below the open, 122 off the high, 165 off the low. And remember, if you don't trade the pound, you can still go through with whatever pair you're trading and run through these different charts, the ones you are considering, all of them, just to get a read on where price is and what price just may or may not do next. You know, knowing if you're near a monthly, weekly, yearly open, or even daily open for that matter, you know, there could be some movement. And even as you can even look at the H4 open, knowing that if it's getting ready to cross it one way or the other, that could be the start of a significant move. Friday's close with a as an inside bar. So you can see here we're in the upper wick zone these Friday and Thursday, and then you go all the way back here. You can see we're in the upper wick zone, and there was a big drop from here. That looks like a return bar on the daily, back up to about 27.40, the launch pad. Yeah, open 27.41. So price might want to get back up into this area before it returns down. And you can see we've got a lot of inside bar action happening here. 10 weeks ago, a weekly inside bar, and 1 month ago we had an inside bar. And looking at the ranges for the day, you can see there's only 4 pairs over 100. Even the beast, the pound yen's just sitting at 99. This is definitely muted so far, but New York's just getting ready to rock and roll. So we'll have to wait and see Oh, by the way, just so you know, Walmal's under the weather, so we might not be hearing from him this week. Hopefully he gets better, can come back and play with us. Speaking, I just mentioned the open. You can see here we crisscrossed that weekly open a couple of times. Finally hit the buy zone and took off. We actually hit the sell zone earlier. It looks like the Asian session or maybe beginning of London, somewhere around here. Rats, the range is too low for any real rat trades. Of course, you can always trade off the current daily high, current daily low. That's not really an issue. And you can see here there was a nice rat reversal, or you could call it a flip-flop box trade. And Bambino Flex Indicator says to go short. Price near R1 to go short, that paid off. Price near the pivot, bias was short, that paid off. And so sometimes following something, a simple little pivot trading plan and that's just so everybody knows, that's not my, I didn't originate this. I just wrote the indicator. I'd have to probably look inside the indicator. I probably have a reference to where I found it. But we know how often the pivot gets taken out. Missed pivots. I just thought it gave me an idea that I could modify this missed pivots indicator. Actually, I'm thinking to maybe include S1 and R1. Even though I think in the price travel analyzer, I have those stats there. I'll have to go back and take a look. I actually haven't used that indicator in a while, but it's definitely a good one when you're designing a system or deciding whether or not to use a system, to gather as many stats as you possibly can and to give you that edge. So it's like these pivots, we know they get filled. Sometimes it takes a while. And we also know how often, we look at the last 250 bars. So we had 236 missed pivots on the weekly, filled to 77%. So that's not too bad. Actually, this is out of 1,000 bars, it looks like, or maybe more. And you can see here we've taken out all the daily pivots for the year. Even though sometimes it takes a few days. And we still have a bunch that were missed last year and the year before. And then H4, if you'd like to do the intraday trading. You can see like this hour from the open to the pivot. And got taken out already and then some. You can see once again here and here and here. So sometimes, just depending on how many pips you want to trade, how patient you are, if you're sitting and glued in front of your screen versus checking in, from time to time, you can definitely use the pivots as targets. Back to the wick zone. We're in that upper wick zone. You can see we've moved in and out of the wick zone a few times today. We got near that upper 2700. I have a feeling price wants to crack it, but I could be wrong. It's just a feeling. And the range, once again, so far is only 43 pips. Nothing to really think about at the moment. Simple price action chart with the psychological levels. And you can see here this M30 covered this one and this one. And then this M30 got covered. That M30 got covered. So once again, price likes to cover the M30 candles. And looking at our 3-level ZZ using the 3 balls that have painted in as support resistance levels. Also looking at lower highs and higher lows. And once again, you can see right here, there was a trade. You might have taken a little heat, but, price, quote unquote trended. Then it consolidated. Then it came back the other way, almost to the 50% level. And I mentioned last week, sometimes you can do something as simply as looking at the last 5-day high and lows just to get an idea what price wants to do. And all you have to do is look at the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. You can look at the chart. You can see, oh wow, it's making higher lows. And at the current, you can see here we're making lower highs. So lower highs, higher lows, what do you get? Inside bars. So sooner or later, price is going to break out. I don't know if it's waiting on news to do it or not, but obviously nothing much is happening there. And this is pretty much the same chart here, but with the midpoints, the opens and the closes. Actually, no opens, just the closes and the mids. Once again, looking at the reverse history. So, fellow traders, that's it for the monthly open and gap. I know I had at least one trader said they were looking forward to these again, so I thought I would maybe start doing them again, just so you can kind of map out what price has done, so maybe you can decide which way you want to be biased, long or short. But always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.